These are true stories based on submissions from the BuzzFeed Unsolved Network audience. These are their encounters. So my husband and I just moved to Wisconsin from Michigan. The move was great, an 8-hour drive over the Mackinac Bridge with a U-Haul and a cat. We got all of our stuff in from the U-Haul and we noticed that it was dark out, so we decided to get our bed stuff together and sleep in our new apartment for the first time. I fell asleep instantly, and the next thing I know, my husband is shaking me awake. I asked him what he wanted and he said, "Don't move too much. Just don't move too much. Just enough to look down the hall." So I moved just enough to peer over his shoulder into the hall, and there it was. A dark figure, maybe 4 feet tall, with glowing red eyes staring back at us from the hall. I was petrified. I always believed in the supernatural for as long as I could remember, but my husband was definitely a skeptic. The figure didn't move, it just stared at us for a while until my husband got up and started screaming, "No! This is my house, and you're not welcome here!" I was shocked. He ran through the hall into the living room and the dining room and was making his way back screaming that, "This is my house, and you're not welcome here!" After that night, we never saw it again. Funny thing was, a month after we moved in, our next door neighbor who lives in apartment A asked us how we liked it so far. We told him we loved it. That's when he told us about how he used to live there with his wife of 15 years until she passed away in the apartment. And he moved to another apartment after that, and that we were the first tenants to live in there since him and his wife. This happened when I was 11 years old. I was staying at a hotel room with my parents and my younger brother. During the middle of the night, on the last night of our stay, I woke up to me and my brother's shared bed, empty. At the foot of the bed there was a dark figure sitting hunched over. I assumed this to be my brother and had a whole conversation with him, asking why he couldn't sleep. And when my brother wouldn't reply, I decided to go back to sleep. The next morning my father asked who I had been speaking to in the middle of the night. I told him I was speaking to my brother. He looked at me for a few seconds before telling me that my brother had a nightmare earlier that evening and had to be moved to my parents' bed. I've never been one to sleep talk, and this incident is one of the most clear memories from my childhood, as I had been totally freaked out after discovering this. It's been 9 years since this happened, and ever since I've held a strong belief in ghosts. Since then, there's been a few other times where I've been in supernatural situations, but this one, for me, will always take the cake. I go to college in Oswego, New York, which is up on Lake Ontario. That's where this story takes place. I've actually never told anyone this story, not even my roommates, because I didn't want to freak her out. It's been said that the building I was dorming in this past year is haunted, but I never really believed it. The building is Fennell Hall, named after Amanda Fennell, who was a graduate and teacher at the school in the 1800s. She supposedly haunts the hall at night. One night, I woke up a little past 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom. The way this dorm is set up, I can see all the way down to the other side of the building in this one giant hallway. So on my way back to the room from the bathroom, I glanced down at the other end of the hallway and I saw a dark figure. I thought for a second it was one of the boys on their side of the hallway, but it was literally just standing there motionless, and it was super dark, like the whole figure was pitch black. I started walking quickly back to my room because I was freaked the heck out. And when I looked back literally 3 seconds later, it was gone. No sound of footsteps, no door closing. Needless to say, I didn't get much sleep the rest of that night. When I was in middle school, I shared a room with my younger sister. We had a telescope by one of the windows in our room. One night I started to feel like I was being watched. The feeling was so strong that it actually woke me up. It felt like it was coming from the window with the telescope. As I glanced over, I could see 2 dark figures, one adult-sized and one teenager-sized, both males. I freaked out, blinking a few times to make sure I wasn't seeing things, but they disappeared along with the feeling. I didn't tell anyone because I wasn't sure if I actually saw what I thought I saw, and I didn't want anyone to think I was crazy. Over the next 2 weeks, I'd be visited by the same 2 figures in the same way, waking up at night because I felt like something was watching me. I started to avoid my room day and night. I hardly got any sleep. My grades started to drop as well from the stress. So of course my school contacted my mom, who then had a talk with me. I ended up telling her everything, even going as far as to mention that I hadn't said a word to my younger sister for fear of scaring her. The next day my mom had a talk with my sister and asked her if anyone had been in our room lately. My sister's response was,
"Yeah, 2 men by a telescope who watched Liz sleep."
My mom, being a spiritual worker, blessed the room, and I haven't seen the figures since. Although I still get chills every time I think of them and those horrible 2 weeks. I've always believed that my basement is the most haunted room in my house. Anyone that comes over says they can feel a presence when they go in the basement, and my cats refuse to go down there. One night, I was having a sleepover with some friends, and we decided to sleep in the basement. While we were playing some games, one of my friends started to freak out. She said that she saw a face peeking out from the guest bedroom. She said she couldn't make out any of the features though, so I was a bit skeptical. But around 3 or 4 in the morning, everyone was asleep, but I was woken up by a sound coming from the storage area under the stairs. At first I thought it was the water heater or something. It tends to make a lot of noise. When I looked over to the entrance of the storage area, I saw a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. It was tall and skinny, and even though I couldn't see its face, I could feel it staring at me. I tried waking my friends, but I couldn't move, and I couldn't talk. I closed my eyes, and after a few minutes, I opened them, and the strange figure was gone. This is the first time that I've told anyone about this story. The friends that I had over, they don't even know this happened. I was afraid they wouldn't believe me.